Hello and welcome to an episode of Hot Takes. Though this name's or change that damn name, but whatever. Today, as you can see by the title, you're probably watching the title, so I don't know why I need to tell you what the video is about. You could just read the freaking title. But yeah, if I seem a little insane, that's because you already know what we're going to be watching. A Grayzone interview. 38 minutes with Nicolas Maduro. Oh boy. Yeah. So, might as well just get into it. Because watch me slowly descend into insanity. Especially since I'm doing this by myself. I am, that's the best part.
6 months ago, the United States...
Oh, it's even starting without me already. Okay, let's just get into this video. So I can end this video. So I can go home. I am home. But, so I can, let's just get into it.
Its government recognized an unknown opposition leader as interim president of Venezuela. But here in Caracas today, it's pretty clear who's in charge.
Unknown leader. Yeah, sure. Compared to me, compared to I don't know who's more well known in Venezuela. Honestly, if Venezuelans don't even know what their freaking opposition leader's name is, that's kind of on them, actually. Come to think of it, you're kind of uneducated. We all know who Kevin McCarthy is. We all know who Mitch McConnell is. I'm pretty sure we're Venezuelans should know who Juan Guaido is by now. Especially since he has a 90% approval rating. Some people probably know who he is.
I've just concluded a conversation with the elected president, Nicolas Maduro. We talked about the U.S. government's attempts to delegitimize him as leader.
Oh, yeah, so base attempts to delegitimize a person who wasn't even technically elected to any official position. Anyway, yeah, I'm definitely going to find people for this because oh yeah, the polls are Western imperialist propaganda. Yep, that's what they are, because people can't have real opinions for themselves. As they come from the Grayzone, the pinnacle of journalism.
To destroy his country's economy and to even end his life.
Based again?
How are you?
Okay, well that's we already see crimes against humanity. See that shirt or jacket or whatever it is? Crime against humanity. And I don't even know what Mr. Egg is thinking, but that guy looks like a testicle.
How are you?
Mr. President, the last U.S. journalist you spoke to, I believe, was Jorge Ramos of Univision. And I actually was leaving Venezuela. I was on the same flight as Jorge Ramos, and I confronted him and challenged him on his reporting. And he told me that he was...
he was giving out the facts.
Informed that Mike Pence and Marco Rubio were very happy with what he had done down here in his interview with you. What he did with you in the first question was to call you a dictator in an attempt to delegitimize you, to take away your legitimacy.
But first of all, not all dictators are technically illegitimate. Suharto of Indonesia always has a place in my heart. Base Suharto would be in heaven, but there are no atheists in heaven.
Mr. President, but since that time, a lot has taken place. In the last weeks, you've hosted the Non-Aligned Summit, where representatives of over 120 countries have come to visit and endorsed your rule as the elected president.
120 countries need to get bombed. Also, wait. I don't even know what this Non-Aligned Summit is. Let's see. '18th Summit of the Non-Aligned, October 2019. Let's see. From what I'm seeing, the non-aligned movement got 23 countries. Is this even the non-aligned movement? Let's see. Oh, I see. He handed the presidency of the non-aligned to the president of Azerbaijan. Let's see. Non-aligned. Let's see. Is still a non-aligned movement? Huh. There is actually a non-aligned movement still around. Okay. So, after reading that shit, the fattening, I'm assuming I know who this is.
No.
No, okay, no, I don't know who this is. You know, so this isn't some fat fuck, a neoconservative fat fuck from what I heard.
Yeah.
So after doing some research, I've realized that summit where 120 countries recognized him was actually 23 countries, including Venezuela. And such names of democracy as Iran, Libya, and Cuba.
Wait. When was the summit?
It was in 2019 of October.
Wait, Libya doesn't even have a functioning government. So which government was it? Was it like which one?
The prime minister. The prime minister one. I don't know.
So the Muslim Brotherhood one?
Fayez al-Sarraj. So,
which one do the anti-imperialists side with? Do they side with the Muslim Brotherhood or like Haftar?
I admit I literally know nothing about Libya because I don't follow that country.
Neither do I. I know nothing about Libya.
Okay. Anyway.
Also hosted the Foro Sao Paulo, a gathering of the left across the hemisphere, where you gave a major speech walking through the 4 stages of the fight against.
Wow, just think the entire legitimacy of the Western Hemisphere could all be fixed if one bomb went off in that building in a video game. Don't specify that because I don't want to be violated by YouTube's TOS.
I fucking love the title. John Bolton tried to assassinate me.
Yes. But I wonder how did he try to kill it? Did he like use his fucking walrus teeth to like bite into him?
Tried to sink the fucking the fucking foreign aid that was on the way to Venezuela.
Yeah.
Tried to sink more Russian ships.
Well, no. If you want to sink a Venezuelan naval vessel, all you have to do is apparently be a cruise liner.
What's that a reference to?
Oh, you never heard the story of the time a German cruise liner sunk a Venezuelan ship on accident?
No.
It's a funny story. They sunk it was a small boat, but they ran into it because the boat was trying to harass the cruise ship, and it sunk.
Okay, that's fucking pathetic.
Yeah. Apparently, it's like, yeah, how is it this regime still is in charge again?
Literally a fucking cruise ship, of all things.
Yeah.
Particularly the non-aligned movement, confirm the coup has failed and that you are indeed legitimate.
Yeah, let's take a look at what countries said that Venezuela isn't a failed state. Afghanistan, Algeria, Bangladesh, Belarus, Bosnia, Cuba, North Korea, a bunch of other countries no one cares about. Iran, Libya, Nepal, Turkmenistan, the bastion of democracy.
And the president.
Welcome. This is a conducive environment for reflection.
No, I don't know. That doesn't sound like Maduro. That sounds like some... Because it's not Maduro and I'm...
This is a beautiful mountain. You can see all of our lovely Caracas.
You know, I feel like this voice actually fits Maduro more. Hi, I'm Maduro.
It's so
I like
unsettling.
out of the fridge.
It's so monotonous, and he's just like sitting there, just saying, "Welcome to my country."
Yes, welcome to my country. Here is grass you can touch. Welcome to... Well, see my little dog. It goes woof woof. Is he a robot or is he just high off his mind?
Just
If you ask me, that journalist came here to provoke.
You should have just arrested him. You seem to have no other problem arresting.
is that the
Other
Is that the reflection of his hair, like the sun in his hair, or is his hair like going gray?
It could just be the sun. He could be going gray. How old is Maduro? I don't know how old he is. See, I can just. I'm just Googling.
So, Maduro is such a fucking like.
He's only
beta.
58, but you know he could have graying hair. Some people do get.
He's such a beta cuck of a leader. Like, he has to get fucking journalists to agree with him. At least Assad gets in various random journalists who, like, don't even agree with him. And he just, like, fucking asks them tough questions just to fucking manipulate them. Have you ever seen Assad interviews?
No, I haven't, but I mean,
He's a pretty good manipulator.
yeah.
Whereas he's at least a chat about it, whereas Maduro's like a cuck.
Assad is kind of, yeah, but Assad is probably also smaller than Maduro.
And apparently he could speak fluent English, which is surprising.
I gave him an opportunity. I knew he was a provocateur. He's one of those journalists that's an agent for U.S. intelligence agencies. He's an agent. Jorge Ramos is a U.S. intelligence agent, and he plays a role. They tried to turn him into an anti-Trump journalist. But the Hispanic, the Latino community in the U.S. should know that he's a paid agent.
Wait, no, he said something about him being they try to make him an anti-Trump journalist. It's like, and the Hispanic community needs to know something that he's a paid. What does the Hispanic community in America have to do with Venezuela? Most of them moved there because they already hate you. They don't need to be convinced they hate you.
Yeah, apparently all Hispanics are the same, according to Maduro.
Yeah.
He didn't even say Venezuelan Americans, or Mexicans that are like the majority of like Hispanics, I would imagine. He just said Hispanics, like in general.
Well, technically, Hispanics also applies to Spaniards in this case. So
yeah, if you're like a Spaniard, like Maduro's just saying, you need to know.
Yeah.
He came with a plan, and he failed. It's not worth talking about him. It's in the past, and his provocation went badly for him. Regarding the second part of your question, we had the ministerial summit of the non-aligned movement. Venezuela has presided over the non-aligned movement for the last 3 years.
You know, most countries in the non-aligned movement don't even support Venezuela. It's actually a large reason why so many countries never even showed up to the summit. Because they didn't because some of the countries didn't recognize Maduro.
Is it even relevant anymore?
No, it's the most ceremonial BS ever.
Like,
Basically,
it's a relic of the fucking Cold War. If
yeah.
anything.
You see, here's the thing. It was here's the thing. Basically, it was originally Venezuela's little thing to like be special. It's like, oh, I lead a little union of 120 countries. Most of them forget they're here. It's like, and now it's Azerbaijan's little thing to like be swaggy with. I guess I don't know. So. Yeah, but before Venezuela, it was Iran, and before then, it was Egypt. This is pre-LCC Egypt, too. This is like Muslim Brotherhood Egypt. Then it was Cuba. Then it was like briefly Malaysia. Then it was like South Africa. Basically, this is just the anti-US league.
Do they rotate leadership? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it used to be like, yeah, every 3 years, apparently they have to relocate leadership. Like it was first Yugoslavia, then Egypt, then it was Zambia. Gee, I wonder why that didn't work out. Then it was Algeria, Sri Lanka. Cuba's been the leader twice.
Jesus.
So, yeah, no, I don't care about the non-aligned movement. Most countries don't even recognize that we're still in it.
Since the September 2016 Margarita Summit, it was our responsibility to hold a ministerial summit. We held it. It was very successful. Representatives from governments of 120 countries attended. We approved
23
fundamental documents for strengthening the United Nations system, advancing important causes such as climate change.
Yeah, very ironic for a petrostate to be concerned about climate change. Guys, it's a very big deal. We gotta do something about the rising temperatures. Now, don't mind me. I'm just gonna pour oil in the ocean.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. Like, we are reducing our emissions because our economy is so shit. Like, we can't even, like, extract oil. So we are fighting by being inept.
Okay, just so you know, some of the nations are in the non-aligned movement. Morocco, I guess, Colombia, Ecuador, Chile, Peru, Guatemala. They recognize Guaido as the leader of Venezuela.
Well, Morocco's like a hardcore American ally.
Yeah, so it's like there's a reason this whole thing doesn't work.
Just goes to show how much of a fucking meme it is.
They had Pinochet's Chile and Castro's Cuba at the same time. This is not a. We'll continue.
As you know, climate change is affecting all the regions of the world. President Trump refuses to acknowledge climate change. It's craziness.
Yeah, except U.S. is actually reducing emissions while Venezuela has been unintentionally reducing emissions. But if they had their way, emissions would still go up because, again, petrol state.
Climate change is affecting warming. It's harming the planet. The non-aligned movement ratified the Paris Accord and every commitment on climate change. We also ratified the 2030 Agenda. That's what it's called. The 20.
Yo, when you mute yourself, it also mutes the video.
Well, that. So basically, they did a lot of BS. It's basically
when you mute yourself, it also mutes the video too.
Oh,
So we missed like the last 10 seconds.
Okay.
We also ratified the 2030 Agenda. That's what it's called, the 2030 Agenda for social equality.
Did he literally say that's what we ratified the 2030 Agenda? That's what it's called, the 2030 Agenda. We heard you the first time. You don't need to repeat yourself.
For investment in public education, public health, housing, and work, the entire 2030 Agenda for development and other key issues.
You mean Saudi vision? Is this
Yeah,
like
I keep thinking of Saudi vision
yeah.
every time I hear like the 2030 agenda.
What is this, like Venezuela's discount Saudi vision, or is it? It's like not even. If Saudi vision is the Chick-fil-A of visions, Venezuela's vision must be like the freaking, I don't know. It's the freaking. What's the worst chicken place?
Walmart brand chicken nuggets you buy from the freezer.
Yeah.
We received great support against the aggressive measures, the sanctions and blockade by the government of the United States.
There is no blockade, actually. It's just sanctions. That doesn't even apply to food and humanitarian aid.
Against Venezuela. We received great solidarity. I believe it has been very successful from a diplomatic perspective. Recently, a few days ago, we received the Sao Paulo Forum. Over 150 social and political movements, political parties from over 70 countries attended. 720 leaders from Latin America, the Caribbean, and the world.
Yeah, I don't even get what sets Latin America, the Caribbean, and the world. The three regions.
We had the opportunity there to analyze the global situation, the geopolitical situation of Latin America and the Caribbean.
You know, I think I know why he said, like, those three regions.
Because those... why?
Well, it's because, like, the cold hard reality is that Latin America is just economically irrelevant. Its growth is kind of stagnant. Their population isn't really going to grow much. They're not, like, it's just doomed to just be where it's at for a while. Like, that's just sad, but it's true.
Well, here's the thing. When a country does manage to get good in South America, they end up throwing it away because some public transit prices got too high. Literally, that's tells us how Chile shit got started. The public transit was too high. See, I like the little segue they go. It's like, well, the public transit is too high. Let's elect the Communist Party. Honestly, yeah. Who could have seen that coming?
There too, we received full, absolute support for Venezuela in its struggle for independence, sovereignty, in its struggle against the blockade, against institution, against everything related to the Trump administration's economic aggression. I think these two international events were carried out at a high level. Now in the months of August, September, October, we will have global meetings about indigenous peoples, women and feminism, the labor movement and unions, and more.
Oh, well.
So they were carried out at a high level as opposed to a low level?
Yeah.
Like, what does he even mean when he says that?
I don't know, but I think it doesn't matter what they mean, because there's 23 dipshits all in a room talking about why the country suck and why it's someone else's fault. That's basically what it is, so I don't know.
Venezuela is a meeting place for debating ideas and for dreaming about the future, which is the most important thing.
As long as the ideas are state-approved ideas. They're not you get sent to a political prison camp.
Okay, I've never heard any leader like describe their country like that. Like, sure, China like says our country's great. Like, we got socialism with Chinese characteristics, and Russia's strong, and North Korea's got Juche. But no, Maduro's like it's the place for debating ideas. Like, it's all philosophical. Like, what the fuck?
What is this, Dave Rubin of countries?
Dave Rubin of countries. What the fuck?
Honestly, if that's true, then I think we're being too friendly with Venezuela. Send in the bombs. Elect those crazy Pakistanis into power so they could nuke Venezuela. I don't know.
I mean, it can't be the Dave Rubin. I mean, he doesn't agree with everyone.
Yeah.
Events were totally ignored in U.S. media, and I think one of the most interesting.
Oh, I got it. The radical American media wants it to suggest that killing people is wrong. I have with me Fuckboy97 from a DC shit show. They were to talk about why killing protesters is good in the name of socialism. That's basically what Maduro podcast is.
Oh, you mean like historically?
I don't know.
Aspects of the non-aligned movement is that 21 of the countries out of the some 120 countries that came to Caracas for this event are targets of U.S. sanctions, and these sanctions.
Afghanistan was one of the countries that attended, though. I don't know if you know this, but Afghanistan is not a target of U.S. sanctions.
Even if the U.S. sanctioned them, like would that actually have an effect?
Like, let's see. Well, let's take a look at the nations that attended. We'll go through them again. Afghanistan. The U.S. is giving them a shit ton of aid. They're not being sanctioned. Algeria. I don't think there's any sanctions against Algeria. I could be wrong. Bangladesh. No sanctions from I know. Belarus has sanctions, but it's also a dictatorship. Bosnia is an aspiring member of NATO. Cuba, dictatorship. North Korea, dictatorship. Djibouti, we have a fucking base there. Equatorial Guinea, no one cares. Ghana, U.S. has close relations. India, close relations. Iran, well, obviously. Libya, shit show. Malaysia, no, we don't have. Namibia, don't know anything about that. Nepal, no one cares. Oman, no one cares. Pakistan, it's crazy. Sudan, crazy. Swaziland, not famous targets of U.S. sanctions here. You gotta feel, but a lot of these countries are also kind of like.
Are essentially a form of hybrid warfare. It's about regime change. And so my question is, what came out of this summit to enable Venezuela, your country, to build a bloc with these other sanctioned countries to resist this attack on their independence? And also, what is Venezuela doing to work with countries like China, which is the target of the U.S. trade war?
Basically, when you're a poor country and you say we want to work with China, it's not really saying you want to work with China. It's more you want to work for China.
Yeah. It's like, you know how fucking African labor works? Like when China constructs shit in Africa?
I've heard the stories.
Like, they don't even have African laborers. Like, they just have Chinese people do it, and African people don't even get jobs or anything.
Sounds about right.
to survive this attack?
There are various components to that question. First of all, I can say that the U.S. media is aligned with Trump's policies against Venezuela,
Most countries are. Dipshit.
against Cuba, against Nicaragua, against progressive movements, leftist movements in our continent. Unfortunately, they are blind to reality in Venezuela. They only report to say negative things in order to support the unconventional war strategy.
What are the positive things, though? That's the main question.
Opposing America. That's what it'll say.
Yeah, opposing.
strategy.
Yeah, and I guess if you ask him, what good has come out of opposing America? What would he say? Yeah, he'd come up with some. This is why he doesn't talk to journalists. He's bad at BSing.
And to mislead and manipulate the reality of our country, of Cuba, of Nicaragua, of Latin America, of independent countries that act in Latin America. That's a reality. I don't think it will change. That's why I say we have to use social media, alternative media, YouTube.
Twitter isn't real life. Do you have to explain this to Maduro?
This whole thing is scripted. I'm willing to bet.
Oh yeah, there's no way this thing isn't scripted.
Periscope, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Correct. Using alternative media so the truth can reach people. I'm sure, Max, that the truth reaches millions of people in the U.S.
How many people actually use Twitter in the U.S. though? Like, I think it's a small number. Like, also, not many people in Venezuela are using Twitter these days, mostly because you kind of need electricity for that.
There are 73 million Twitter users as of April in the US,
Oh,
followed by 54 million in Japan, followed by 18 million in India. Just to give you like an idea.
oh. Still, though, that's only like a fourth of the population, and consider how many people probably build an account and then don't do anything with it. Number is probably like maybe 10% when you actually consider that. What are you going to do with 10% of the population?
That's why I'm doing this interview and any other interview. Secondly, there is a growing movement of solidarity and support for Venezuela in the world. Venezuela is the victim of a brutal, criminal, multidimensional aggression.
Multi-dimensional? What?
Boys, we're invading the fourth dimension for oil.
4D Wars for Oil.
This is what they mean by when they said like Trump does a 5D move. He's an interdimensional threat. I didn't even know we invaded the fourth dimension though.
The people of the United States should know that this is a war. Experts call it an unconventional war. It is an economic, financial trade war.
It's not really a trade war because we're kicking your ass. It's more of a trade slaughter. Also, the reason why these sanctions were so effective is because you were so damn reliant on the U.S. that like 42% of everything you sold went to the U.S. So in a way, you are actually serving U.S. interest, economic interest anyway.
And to prove my earlier point, he's a fucking beta.
Yeah.
And so was his predecessor.
Yeah. So they need to go back to that Venezuelan dictator who just like fed people to sharks. That's the true alpha right there. Military dictators who feed their dissidents to the sharks. That's the leader I want.
Like
The
Dr.
United
Evil.
States, the
I guess.
government of the United States persecutes Venezuela so that it cannot buy medicine around the world. They persecute us so we cannot buy food, supplies, commodities.
Again, they don't apply to food and medicine. In fact, the U.S. actually tried to deliver medical and food aid to Venezuela. Who made it not happen? Maduro. So, kind of leaving out some important details there.
Well, yeah, he can just fucking lie, though.
Yeah, because these people eat it up like it's yesterday.
So we cannot buy anything around the world. They stole Citgo from us. In the United States, you see Citgo gas stations. Those are Venezuelan, and the government of the United States expropriated it. They expropriated it. They have frozen accounts worth over $20 billion in banks in Europe and around the world. It is persecution.
From the bank.
Huh? Was that something, or did I just?
I was muted.
Oh,
That's the gold reserves of the Central Bank of Venezuela. You know that central banks in countries have special immunity.
Oh, is he going to talk about central banking? Oh, no.
oh,
Oh, no.
he's going to go into the Rothschild conspiracy theories.
He's going to talk about Israel.
Yeah, going to talk about those people with the little hats.
Agreement. Special immunity for central banks.
Oh, no.
Reserves they have around the world have special immunity according to international law. Well, the US government, in complicity with the British government, have frozen, have stolen over $1.4 billion from Venezuela in gold reserves. Venezuela's gold reserves. So we're facing this war with work, with creativity, with perseverance.
When has
resistance.
Venezuela ever done anything that was like creative? It's mostly copying what other nations did. It's just bad
They
copy.
wrote the script for this interview.
Oh yeah. So they write comedies. Hey.
Then again, that was
Marvel.
probably the people at the Grayzone and not actually Maduro.
Yeah.
I can tell the people of the United States.
Honestly, here's the thing. This is the thing I get wrong. They always put their videos under the wrong section. This is clearly not political. This is comedy. Where's the comedy? I'm just going to prove to you. There is no...
Why does Maduro look so, like, sad? Like, he looks so... He looks so off, like he's out of it. Like he doesn't actually believe in what he's saying.
Probably because he doesn't.
Like, if you've ever watched an Assad interview, like I've watched a ton of them back when I used to be like a fucking poll browser, and they have like a fucking Syria general thread with links to all that shit. Like, Assad fucking smiles, and he even fucking laughs and mocks people when they get, like, a fact wrong, and he's like, no, I'm gonna correct you on this.
Yeah.
He's like fucking Putin. He might actually be smarter than Putin, like, who the fuck knows?
Yeah. This is... He even has that look of, like, the middle-aged, depressed dad.
Like, yeah, like, what the fuck?
This guy's gonna like freaking leave his wife or a girl that's 25 and buy one of those convertibles. It goes to that midlife crisis.
States that sooner rather than later we will defeat all of these criminal policies. I can tell the people of the United States that with all of the sanctions, the persecution, the aggression, they haven't been able to overcome our fighting spirit, our dignity.
But they haven't overcome your fighting spirit. Neither
Wait,
has
look at that earpiece. You willing to bet he's like being fed the script in real time?
Probably. Like, I don't even think these two are talking to each other. Also, it's like, yeah, do you have a fighting spirit? And the rest of Venezuela seems to disagree with you. The rest of Venezuela kind of wants you gone. They just don't, they just can't. Because you control the military. Man, people don't want to get shot. That's the thing, though. People don't like you, but they also don't like getting shot. That's a good philosophy for dictators.
And they won't be able to. Venezuela stands up. Every time we're hit, we stand up with work, with production, with productivity. On the third part of your question, yes, we have alliances around the world with independent governments for trade, financial and energy relations, and we will keep moving forward.
I want to ask you another.
You know, any nations that ally themselves with Venezuela, like either superpowers who just wants to exploit it, or third world shitholes that honestly are starting to make Venezuela look nice. Just kidding. Venezuela is the poorest country in Latin America now.
Yes, we have alliances around the world with independent governments for trade.
Created a program known as CLAP to help offset some of the social costs of sanctions, to distribute food for very low cost, along with sanitary supplies to now 6 million families. Not 6 million people, but 6 million families, which is a large percentage of Venezuela's population. Now the United States says that it wants to sanction the CLAP program, while it is denying Venezuela assets to buy food for import. An advisor to the opposition candidate, Henry Falcon, has written an article and told our colleague, Aaron Mate, that he believes...
Oh, that's relevant. Aaron Mate. Not relevant to this video, but relevant in a whole different way to current affairs.
That as a result of these sanctions, Venezuela will experience a famine in the next 12 months. And he said that the sanctions are designed to do just that, to cause a famine. Is this something you're concerned about?
They're designed to cause a famine.
Yeah. They're not really designed to cause a famine. They're more designed to weaken the government, which, yeah, it does hurt the citizens, but so does the government. So it's like pick or choose, to be honest.
Considering that the U.S. blocks you every time you try to get out from this economic blockade, what do you do in concrete terms to prevent this from happening?
Nothing.
Look, this didn't happen in Saddam Hussein's Iraq. If you remember, Saddam Hussein's Iraq had UN-approved sanctions. They were not unilateral measures. They were not illegal. They were multilateral and legal, although they may have been unjust.
Wait, U.S. sanctions were multilateral because many countries signed on to them. Colombia, Panama, the EU, Brazil, Japan.
Okay, so even when there are UN-approved multilateral sanctions, they still go out of their way to say, no, they're bad.
Yeah.
And is he really gonna like go out of his way to compare himself to fucking Saddam? Is he really gonna die on that hill?
Yeah, buddy. See that mustache? That's beta mustache. Saddam No, that was Chad Mustache.
You know, now that you mention it, he kind of does look like a fatter, like uglier Saddam.
Wait a second.
He looks
What
like
if we didn't?
he's a Latino Saddam. Like you can't unsee it.
Hold on. Did we ever actually get the real Saddam? Could this be Saddam? He's back and fat.
He's been putting on weight.
The UN Security Council approved an oil for food program. Oil for medicine. Even Saddam Hussein, at this time when he was in a military war with the US, the UN Security Council opened a path for him to import food and medicine. Donald Trump, John Bolton, the KKK extremists who govern the United States today.
The KKK extremists?
Oh my god. The Ku Klux Klan runs so much of government. What's a membership of? It's like, let's see.
I mean, it's one thing to like say Donald Trump is KKK, or no, it's one thing to say Donald Trump is a neo-Nazi. It's another to say he's specifically a member of the KKK. But it's another to say John Bolton is a member of the KKK.
Let's see. Membership of the said KKK is right now sitting at 5,000 to 8,000 members.
Well, if they got into power, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, pretty impressive for 8,000 people.
Well, I can say it. I don't know if this is said in the United States, but I will say it.
He's going to say the N-word. Maduro, no, you don't have the N-word pass yet.
They are Ku Klux Klan extremists, like the KKK that attacked the homes of civil rights activists. They are trying to attack our home, Venezuela.
No. People have said that shit like 24/7 for the past 4 years, Maduro. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like,
say something original.
They prevent us from getting access to food, medicine, essential goods. We're not asking that anyone give this to us. We have the money to buy it.
You don't have the money to buy jack squat. Okay, to quote Chris Frawley, you'll go in and you'll go into your banks and you'll find a bunch of jack squat. I did not do a good Chris Frawley impression.
It's important to know about the CLAP program. What is CLAP? It's an acronym for Local Committees for Supply and Production. I created the Local Committees for Supply and Production in 2016 for distribution of food to reach communities. Today, we have 33,000 local committees for supply and production.
Now, all this type of food is actually making me kind of hungry, to be honest.
Local committees for supply and production. Those 33,000 reach over 6 million families. You should know that Venezuela is a country of 30 million residents. Each family has 4 members. This means that the CLAP reaches nearly 80% of Venezuelan families, particularly the humblest families. With the CLAP, we created a program to, at least once a month, bring families a basket of food. Do you have this in the United States? Groceries.
Actually, we do. It's called food stamps.
no, but he just said groceries.
Yeah.
A box with 24 products.
Box.
The reason why they need your food is because there's no option to get food anywhere else but the government. The reason the U.S. doesn't directly give you food anymore. They did in the past for like government cheese, stuff like that. But nowadays it's mostly food stamps. The reason they give you food stamps It's because there's no shortage of food in the country. Some people do have a shortage of money, and that's why food stamps exist. It's basic welfare economics.
24 fundamental products, subsidized. They are delivered to the home. In some parts of the country, we have managed to deliver it every 15 days, and others, it's every 20 days. What's true is that Venezuelan families who receive support through free public health care, free public schools, support in housing, support through a program called the Homeland Card that gives a direct subsidy, money. In addition to all that support, families receive groceries. Now we have a special plan for animal protein so families can receive all their food.
This seems, I don't know, this seems like a lot of BS he's spouting because we've all seen the reports about how many Venezuelans are hungry. How do you have a program that reaches 80% of the population but also have a significantly large starving population and have a 90% disapproval rating?
That program has just been sanctioned by the Trump administration at the request of the coup-supporting Venezuelan opposition. The U.S. public should know this. The world should know this. It's something unthinkable, the world. They're going after our food.
What do you mean they're going after your food? You can get aid. They give you aid. They just don't want you controlling the aid. They kind of want to avoid you. That's kind of why they put the sanctions in. They're not trying to attack your country. They're just trying to more or less try and avoid you.
Because John Bolton, this KKK extremist, and Elliot Abrams, this KKK extremist.
They called him a KKK extremist directly.
Oh my. Funny thing is, Bolton was like the first high-profile Republican to support gay marriage. Klansman. It's like,
was known for the Iran-Contra scandal in the 80s. They say we have to leave the Venezuelan people without food. They say it openly and publicly. They're immoral. We have to defeat them.
I know. This reminds me. We should sell weapons to Iran so we can then use the profits to give them to death squads in Venezuela. I like that idea, Maduro.
U.S. public opinion has to rise up in solidarity with the Venezuelan people. But I can guarantee, Max, that the CLAP program will continue, that there will be no famine in Venezuela.
X.
He said there would be one in 12 months.
Yeah.
As I say in Venezuela, and I don't know if this can be translated into English, whether there's rain, thunder, or lightning, the CLAP will continue, and we will continue serving those 6 million households with national production.
6 million?
Well, wait.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Actually, I think I know someone who might actually like this shit posting. I'm going to send them a link just because.
$6 million households. $6 million gonna starve.
We will defeat the criminal plan to cause a famine in Venezuela carried out by Donald Trump, John Bolton, and the KKK that governs the White House.
Many Americans.
Yeah. Big words for a man who wears a flag jacket. Seriously, what's up with that?
Are familiar with the events since January when the U.S. enacted a coup against your government through Juan Guaido. But they don't know about a lot of the crises and the really grisly events that led up to it. In 2017, the city that you see behind us, Caracas, was on fire with the guerrillas, and many people were killed, including Chavistas like Orlando Figuera, who was burned alive because he was black. You called a constituent assembly, which many people, including on the Chavista side, didn't expect. You were branded a dictator by the U.S. for doing.
They literally admit though that Chavistos consider him a dictatorship. And they're like, oh, how is that? That was unexpected. Put two and two together. You're a dictator. Just admit it.
Doing so because of the National Assembly and its role. It lost its role. In August of 2018, you faced an assassination attempt. Drones strapped with explosives attempted to detonate during a military parade when you were standing with your ministers. So it was an attempt to kill you and many of your ministers. I want to know what was going through your head during that.
Honestly, that sounds like the most redneck way to kill a person. You just duct tape bombs to a drone and you fly it over to them. Like, I fucking love it. Redneck assassinations.
Wait, it was like one of those fucking quadcopter drones?
I don't know. I guess.
I thought they meant like a real drone.
Assassination attempt were you thinking as it occurred, and what was the hardest decision you took during this period from 2017 leading up to the coup?
First of all, Venezuela is a deeply democratic, free country. In 20 years, a process of revolution.
A very democratic country. No rigged elections whatsoever. No, democracy is when you rig the elections, of course. The more riggers there are, the more democratic it is.
I love riggers.
Yeah.
Commander Chavez, who was the founder of this Bolivarian revolution, inspired by the ideals and legacy of our liberator, Simón Bolívar, he could be considered for history as the greatest democratizer of the political and civil life in Venezuela. In these 20 years, we've had, for example, 25 elections, presidential elections, every time the Constitution calls for it. Parliamentary.
Yeah, and those presidential elections have extremely low turnout, surprisingly. Where did all the turnout go? Why are you getting less votes in that election than you did the first one?
Elections for governors of the 23 states. Elections for mayors of the 330 municipalities. Elections for local and regional legislatures. Elections for referendums, for consultations on national issues, such as reforming the Constitution. 25 elections.
If this dude says elections one more time, I'm personally overthrowing him.
Our forces, the Bolivarian Chavista forces, have won 23 of those 25 elections.
That's it. Heading over there.
We have won against the united opposition. They are always united. We have beaten them 23 times.
Here's my question. How did two people lose a rigged election? How in the world do you do that? It's kind of funny.
Last time, for example, we beat them just 2 years ago or less, 18 months ago. We beat them in 19 of 23 governorships, including in the country's biggest states. Of the 335 municipalities, through popular votes, we beat the opposition in 307 votes. And on May 20th of last year, I beat two opposition candidates who participated in the elections with 68% of the vote.
Yeah, and 36% turnout when the formal turnout was in the 70s. And you got less raw votes. No, don't question it.
Venezuela has an open electoral registry. Venezuela does not have compulsory voting. It has an electoral registry in which 99% of voting age people are registered. In contrast to the United States, in which over 30% of voting age people are not in the electoral system.
We have more turnout. Next.
It's a big difference. I won with 68% of the votes cast, but I can give you more information. I won 33% of registered voters. How much did Donald Trump get when he won? 22% of registered voters. On top of the fact that 30% of voting age people in the US are not registered. These are small details one can see.
Well, we can just look up. Let's just do some math. Real quick math here. We'll just look up 2016 election because this is before 2020. See. We'll just take the total votes of how many people voted in total. Or we'll just take we're just going to do some math real quick. 62,984,828 votes for Trump plus 65,853,514 votes for Hillary plus we'll throw it in 4 million votes for Gary Johnson. Let's see. That's 133 raw votes out of a entire population of about 325 million people. Gives you about 41% of the entire population showed up for the election. Now, let's look up 2018 Venezuela presidential elections. We have 6,245,862 votes for Maduro, plus 1,927,387 votes for the Progressive Advanced Party, plus 996,181 vote outcome BO. Gives us 9 million. And if we go to just the population of Venezuela, it's about 28 million, which is round down for 28. 32%. Yeah. You have lower numbers. Deal with it. Because you're not an elected leader. You're a dictator. And your own National Election Council even states that there was a 46% drop in turnout. That's if you want to believe them. Some have even argued that your elections have had 17% turnout now. Is it true? I don't know. But it's a pretty high number there, Maduro.
The level of legitimacy of the Bolivarian revolution, of Venezuelan democracy, the level of legitimacy of my leadership as president of the republic, of the government.
Is something wrong?
What's going on?
Of the mayors, constituent
yeah, my computer was being shit.
Of the legislators is very high. It's real. It's what the KKK of the United States does not want to understand. They do not want to understand that our legitimacy is real. We are real, just as this wood is. We are real.
What?
Did they have to say we are real so many times? I doubt it. I don't even think that table's real. I think this man.
Yeah, it's interesting. He calls Trump interdimensional, and he also has to emphasize, we're real, we're real.
Yeah,
It's all very sus.
yeah.
Legitimacy is real, certain, strong.
He
That's
seems
why they
unsure.
fail and will continue to fail, Max. Write it down. We're in 2019 and they have failed. They will continue to fail in their coup attempts, their destabilization. They will fail in everything. We will defeat them in everything with votes, with the people, with them.
Not all the people, but a minority of people. The people we like.
Democracy, with freedom, with institutions. Now, a year ago, it'll be a year in August, there was the attempt. I can tell you that today I have proof that the assassination attempt was ordered by John Bolton in the White House.
You're saying John Bolton personally commanded an assassination attempt against you?
And he waited for the results in the White House. If you dig deeper, you'll see it someday. The proof will come out how John Bolton, in coordination with then Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos, and they gave the task to.
Also, they don't like Colombia's leadership too much either. Because, pro-U.S. ally and all that.
Like 40 years from now, like, all this information that he's referencing, if it exists, will become available via Freedom of Information Act. And if it turns out it's not true, oh boy.
Yeah.
Julio Borges, a former legislator in Venezuela. We have testimony, we have witnesses, proof. All the material authors of this assassination attempt by drone were captured. Some of the operational and intellectual authors were captured. And it all points to Julio Borges in Bogotá. It all points to Juan Manuel Santos in Colombia. All of it. All the logistics, the institutional support, technical assistance, support from Colombian intelligence. It all points to John Bolton, who has a criminal mentality, a murderer's mentality. We survived that day.
Nos salvamos.
Oh my god. I don't know if I hate everything about this or if I love everything about this.
That the plot emanated from Miami.
Sí, los autores.
Correct. The intellectual authors, the financiers, and the people who directed the operations via video conferences, they live in Miami. They are protected by the U.S. government and are part
Oh,
of the
there were
network.
video conferences too.
Yeah. Don't this is actually a secret video conference deal with Maduro.
I wonder if they recorded those video conferences, and those are in the archive too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Imagine if that was real. Imagine just John Bolton just like, yo, what's up, guys? Okay, so we got this drone.
I would pay to watch that.
Published by the White House. In this case, John Bolton. I can't accuse President Trump. I can't do it at this time. But I do have all the evidence to accuse and ask for a landmark investigation into John Bolton, a criminal.
No, the president didn't do it, but John Bolton himself did it.
Oh my. This is like so dude, trust me on this.
Okay, no, this can't be fucking real. This is such blatant, Grayzone-esque like type propaganda that demonizes Bolton. There's no way Maduro himself could have concocted this weird type of bullshit
Yeah.
to think Bolton himself could have like ordered some sort of assassination on him,
Well, he's a criminal.
bypassing Trump's orders or whatever.
What went through my head at the time? I was focused on the speech I was giving. I thought it was nothing. I didn't think it was an assassination attempt. After, my security personnel protected me and the second drone exploded. That's when I realized it was an assassination attempt. At the time, I was worried about the safety and life of the families, the soldiers there.
He was probably actually thinking, oh, God damn it, I pissed my pants.
I mean, his current facial expression kind of does, convey that.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they dispersed because more bombs could have come. There were 7 injured among the troops there. Later, when I withdrew from there, my mind was focused on the people and their worries. That's why I was so quick to speak afterwards, because I knew the people were worried. They wanted to know what happened.
I wanted to know why it failed.
I'm a man of faith. I believe in God very much. I'm a man of action and prayer, a Christian. I believe that there was an event that day, that God saved our lives.
Gee, oh my God, if God really did save your life, then I want to ditch this Christianity thing. To be honest. Like, God, if you side with these people, we have some problems. Actually, let's think about this. If God is doing all he can do to protect you, why is it the only thing he did was divert some drones away from you? Couldn't he just, cause a natural disaster in the US or something?
God works in funny ways.
Yeah. Let's see. It must have been one of those days when God got drunk on the simulation again. Be like, hey, buddy, watch this. Look at what I made them do.
Because they planned it to perfection, with so much evil, to assassinate us. And Venezuela would have entered a new phase.
Yeah, nothing says perfect like getting a fucking quadcopter drone and putting, duct taping explosives to it.
Yes. Perfection.
It totally sounds like something John Bolton would approve.
Right. I could just imagine seeing that meeting. Right, Bolton, I got this clever idea. Hold my beer and watch this. And then he just goes around, flies the drone, flies into the cliff, and blows up his friend. And they're just like, I like it. All right, I'm going to fly the drone into Maduro. What? I'm drunk. I can't sit. Is it there? That's how I imagine that meeting would have went if that was true.
The revolution would have gone from the phase we've been in for 20 years into a more radical phase, a deeper one. A stage of armed revolution. It would have backfired for them. Thank God and our good fortune, we are alive and triumphant.
How could they do an armed revolution? You're the government. You don't do revolutions when you're a government. Which is, actually, yeah, revolutionary governments are the dumbest, humbler than thou bullshit. You're the government. Your new job is to crush people who cause revolutions.
more triumphant than ever.
We hear so much in our media in the U.S. about corruption in your government. We hear very little, of course, about corruption in the Honduran government, where the president is under DEA investigation.
No one cares about Honduras. That's the main thing. Is like, what? Why stop there? Why don't we talk about corruption in Zambia? Why don't we talk about corruption in Gabon? Why don't we talk about corruption in Westaceville? It's not even a real country.
Actually, no country's a real country because, like, every country's founded on genocide, except America's, except the United States of America.
Where $300 million were stolen from the public health services. But nevertheless, we hear these constant allegations, and, having spoken to grassroots Chavistas here, and even government officials, there are complaints about public officials who are harming the revolution by theft and embezzlement, these kinds of things. I also know that your government's taken steps to crack down on corruption, for example, against Rafael Ramirez, PDVSA executive, who was an ambassador and is now still in the U.S. I think he's accused of stealing hundreds of millions of dollars. What could you tell?
If he's still hundreds of, my God, that's like 12% of the GDP. Yeah, I think those anti-corruption charges have more to do with some more ulterior motives. They're more anti-opposition charges.
Is this the entire stream just, like, reacting to this video?
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
This is why no one watches my stuff.
Dude, reaction streams are, like, so bad. Like,
I know.
But at least you don't do them for 5 hours.
Yeah.
At midnight.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of which, it could be a good time just to continue this in another video. Because, my God. Anyway, but yeah, we can, like, end this spot. Like, yeah. Though, I already know who'd be the best person for one of these videos is the suit guy. I need to get him on because he could probably do good reactions.
Yeah, like, I could probably do better, but, like, I got back from work, I'm fucking tired as shit.
Yeah, I understand.
I tried my best.
Yeah, I understand. Like, I can't react either. But, unfortunately, Suka doesn't like coming on because he's self-conscious about his voice. Like, no one cares.
I'm not sure if that's it. I think he just doesn't like putting his voice out there for reasons.
Yeah, I understand that. Anyway. So, let's see. Literally, you're the only one in the comment other than this one comment from Tess. Who's the one person who's watching this right now?
Me, I have it open in another tab.
Okay, well, I was just thinking, oh, wow, someone actually watches. No, it's just you.
I'm helping.
Yes, help the cause.
You know what? If they like react to this stream, they who shall not be named, then like that makes it all the better.
Why do they react? Why would they react to this stream? There's nothing interesting that happened in this one.
Because they're pathetic and have nothing better to do with their lives.
Yeah, well, I feel like if they're gonna start reacting, they'd react to like the more juicier streams, the ones where we actually insult them, not the ones where we.
You got a point there.
we should probably stop this because I kind of made a promise I wouldn't talk about it on streams ever again, and I already broke that.
Great job.
Yeah. I'm pathetic. But don't worry, we're all pathetic on this stream. Actually, honestly, if you stream at any time past 10 p.m., you're basically a loser anyway. Anyway.
Definitely not referencing anyone.
Yeah, I'm referencing myself here. On my stream past 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Except,
yeah, I mean, like, nobody is watching your streams right now because you are a loser who has no job.
Yeah, I what do you mean I don't have a job? You're just jealous because I could go to school without getting a job.
Yeah. Yeah, you just, like, you don't have a job and you're streaming, like, past 10 p.m. right now.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to watch anime after this, and I'm just living the stereotype, aren't I? Oh, I do think that Shirata song, though, would actually make a good anime opening.
It would.
That's what I should just do for, like, a... Just gotta... I just gotta... Like, it probably won't be a good idea, but... They never are. I'm just setting up the best outro music I can get. Just gotta get to the...
You're setting up outro music?
Yes. Now, before because I have to share it like this, goddammit, but everyone, say hello to the outro song. And this will be a goodbye.
Sujud kami bagimu yang esa. Terima kasih atas karunia sanjang pangan pembangunan kau limpahkan bagi negeri Indonesia. Seorang bapa yang telah kau cinta untuk memimpin negeri tercinta, wibawanya dan senyumnya memberi ceria wajah Indonesia. Kepadamu Bapak dan Soeharto, terima kasih dari rakyat semua. Di belakangmu kami siaga demi kejayaan Indonesia. Kepadamu Bapak kami Soeharto, terima kasih dari rakyat semua. Di dadamu move.